Hi, Wales. Good morning. It's Wednesday pre-market. Let's go over and break down Tesla for today's trading session. Let's dive in. All right. So with that said, with Tesla, as you guys know, I do believe that this cycle has officially ended, this downtrend, right? You take a look at RSI. The RSI has officially resetted as well, right, towards the bull's favor. Okay. So we finally broke that trend, and we're trying to work on this uptrend now. So because of that new cycle that we're forming, we can now label this as the invalidation level, whereas we're calling the bottom for now. Okay. And it looks like Tesla's trying to go for a wave 1, 2, 3 in red, 4 still being put in, 5 for all of an A wave, coming down for a B wave, and then ultimately one more upside for a C wave here in the future for Tesla. Okay. And the levels that I'm looking at from a larger time scale, right? I'm on the 4-hour right now. So if we take the fib retracement tools and do the inverse fibs from the top and swing it to the bottom, right? We're looking for the 50 back, right, guys? So we're looking anywhere between 352 up to 393 as the main target for Tesla within this first cycle here. Okay. So what's going to happen is essentially at this zone, either we're going to dip and continue higher, okay, or we have a new cycle lower. All right, I think that's pretty unlikely, right? I do favor the uptrend here, but we have to be aware that this is the algo zone for most of the banks and most of the bulls and bears here. Okay, so we're going to have to let the market decide once it gets here what Tesla's going to do. Okay, but until then, let's not worry about that. Until then, let's see if Tesla can keep putting and keep trekking higher. I do believe we're going to go higher here. And let's go down to the 30-minute time frame. So if you look at the 30-minute time frame, right, we have a wave 1, 2 in red, still putting in this 3, coming down for a 4. And then ultimately one more wave higher for the 5th before we come down for that B wave and then up for that C wave. Okay, so I do believe that right now, though, these levels are coming with divergence, bearish divergence on the 30-minute time frame. You can take a look at the RSI. We're starting to bearishly diverge here. So in my opinion, the risk to reward, if you're trying to long this on Tesla, is probably not the best here, guys, to be honest with you. You would want to wait for at least a wave 4 if you're being super aggressive here, or that B wave, right? After 5 waves gets put in, right, from the bottom to the top, after this cycle gets finished, you can buy the B wave before it goes up. So you want to wait for sort of the reset on the indicators before you buy in. Okay, so this is sort of what I'm looking at. As a strategy between, everyone here are right helping you guys out in terms of figuring out how to make the best out of this situation. So you're looking at potentially a trek higher. It's just we got to get through some of these levels here. It's a little bit tricky, right? So just stay patient, right? Buy at the right times. If you wanted to get in, you would buy at red 4, or you would buy in at right black B. Right, if you wanted to add into your position on Tesla, if you haven't gotten into Tesla yet, those are sort of the main strategies that you're looking for. Okay, so again, still looking to see whether or not we can get some separations from these lows. I do like the bullish sequence so far, and let's see what Tesla can sort of reveal as we continue trekking upwards here. Let's go over Nvidia. So with Nvidia, guys, I have 2 different paths. The first path is the bullish path, where we have a wave 3 in red, coming down for a wave 4, and now we're starting this new sequence, right, to trek to all-time highs for a wave 5 in red here to finish off all of a wave 1 primary cycle, coming down for a wave 2 primary cycle, and then ultimately even higher in the long term. Okay, so we're basically setting ourselves up for success for this bullish path. Now, this is sort of the main count that we're going with, right? We need to make sure we label our invalidation level here at the lows. So this means that we're calling the bottom for now. And if price does break below the invalidation level, this means that this count is wrong, and we need to essentially recreate or recount this to account for a different scenario that happens, right? So as traders, we need to make sure we know all the different types of possibilities so we can make sure that we make the best trades, okay? So that's the invalidation level, and we're looking to see whether or not Nvidia can get some separation from these lows to ultimately get a 5 waves in red, right? We're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. So with the 4-hour time frame, guys, you can see that again, we have a 4 that got put in validation level for lows. We're calling the bottom for now. And if this is the bottom, we're either working on a 1-2-1-2 nest, right? This makes sense to me, right? And we're going to keep pushing upwards. So shorter time cycles look like Nvidia can push upwards, or we have a double correction here where we're putting in a B, C like this before Nvidia goes higher. Okay, so this is sort of the main counts that I see, but as long as price essentially can stay above the invalidation level, we're calling it higher here on Nvidia. Okay, either or. Now we also have to take a look at, again, the bearish path, because it's pretty obvious. You guys can see this, right? You guys can see. Let me get rid of some of these labels here so you guys can clearly see this. All right, so the bearish path would actually put our wave 4 lower, and you can basically see that we have a ABC that went down in black, coming up for a failed impulsive wave, and then coming down for one more corrective wave like this. Okay, and that makes total sense because now this is a W, X, Y wave that gets put in. And what does this look like, guys? Overall, this looks like a head and shoulders pattern. You have a left shoulder, you have a head, and then a potential right shoulder coming in. Okay, so typically corrections, right, where this Y wave and wave 4 ends is typically on the primary wave 4 cycles from the past. So if you look left, you see a wave 4 here in blue and a wave 4 here in black. So anywhere between these two lines, this correction can land. So we're definitely buyers here if Nvidia does fall even further into the future. Okay, and why does this make sense? Well, this makes sense for a few reasons. The first reason is that if you take a look at this structure, this does look like distribution to me, right? This does look like, a top, right? Typically. So in tops, you typically get a lot of distribution, accumulation of shorts around these levels rather than a clear uptrend that moves forward. Secondly, what you see is that if you take the fib extensions or fib retracements from the swing highs down to the swing lows of that C wave, right? And you sort of project this out, this is sort of the bear zone, right? So they like to short relief rallies here. And you can take a look at all this sort of culmination of a lot of volume, a lot of price action all across this zone, guys. So the bears are going to try to short this because it's a great risk to reward scenario, right? They're going to be shorting this area to try to get to here with a stop loss only here, right? So that's a great risk to reward. That's about a 3-to-1 risk to reward scenario for the bears. So it makes sense for the bears to go after this trade. And secondly, thirdly, it also makes sense because of the fact that if the S&P does a double correction as well on the relief rally, right, because it's going to be testing its trend line, same thing as Nvidia, right, is retesting this trend line. This all makes sense. So let's see what Nvidia can do. Either or, right, we're going to be buyers down here if Nvidia does come down here. Okay, so until then, I'll talk to you guys soon, and let's see what the markets are going to decide, what it's going to reveal. Make sure you have your stop losses in place. Make sure that you're safe and not over risk. Okay, and yeah, talk to you guys soon.